The Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, and on the Berkshire station it is Monmouth School. The yellow.
Attention!
Bucks, Eton College. Unmistakable Eton Blue, the defending champions. The Prince Elizabeth Challenge Cup. Eton College beat St Edwards in the final last year. I'm sure most of you around the world are very well aware of Eton College, but if you're not, it is considered, if not to be the school, certainly one of the schools of the English nation. It's room for 1,300 boys in Windsor, and amongst its many strengths, since its foundation in 1440, is certainly growing. And it is indeed Eton who have opened up an early advantage on Monmouth, a great and historic school in its own right, with some substantial rowing alumni, including Charles Wiggin and Tom Lucy and Robin Williams, who you know well.
Yes, I do. He was my first senior coach at Cambridge, so he sort of set me up at university, and I think, you know, he's a very technical, he's got a very good understanding of the sport, and I think I'm personally very grateful to how I came into it at Cambridge. But yeah, Eton obviously is a very established school. They've got fantastic facilities, but more importantly, over the last 4 or 5 years, I think they've developed a culture of developing school kids throughout the years, so they keep churning out very fast eights. And these things, they come and go. Some schools will have their good days, some have their lower times. Eton is certainly on the up at the moment. They keep churning out very good outfits, and very good individuals. Most recent, obviously, is Stanley Ludis, who you'll see in the team at the moment, one of the most promising athletes in the British team. And like I said, Eton, they're at the top of their game at the moment. I think the last 4 or 5 years, it looks like they're stretching out to a nice lead, and they're showing the class they've had the last few years.
There are some boys very much on the cusp of becoming men. Some hefty, broad athletes. You can certainly have a substantial weight advantage in this race. I don't know how much you read into that, Tom, but average 13.8 as opposed to Monmouth's 12.11.
Well, I've always got to back the lighter crews on those, because I was never the one of the heaviest ones. But it's always a good rough indicator. If you don't know anything else about the crews, and weight turns out, you usually assume that the power goes along with the weight, and you'll be better to deal with the rough water or whatever the circumstances, and it generally correlates. But if it's a fine line, if the crews are within half a stone of each other, it's not a clear indicator. I know there's a lot of focus on the boat race when it comes to the weight, but I don't know what the results say, but for me it's less of an indicator.
Certainly, yeah, the famous Oxford-Cambridge University boat race makes great play about the weights. Let's face it, devotes a whole day to them.
It does. It's a nice showpiece. And it's quite good because there's a point of sort of confrontation, isn't it? You can get the crews out facing each other. And certainly, I mean, for something like, and to be honest, when you've got nothing else to go on, and that's races like this, you turn up on the day and you just don't know what the opposition is. You go on as much as you can, and weight, okay, in that case is one factor, but that's what makes the racing so tense. When you turn up on the start line, you just don't know what the opposition is going to be like. And it's the same for this regatta to a certain extent. Now, okay, got to feel a little bit bad for Monmouth. They know as soon as the draw came out and they saw they're up against Eton, right, okay, the first race is going to be tough. But as a regatta progresses and you get crews where you're not going to see, particularly in international crews, and school level we see a lot of American crews, we're seeing some German ones come over now. You just don't know what they're going to be like. So on the start line, that's where that part of that sort of getting your head right, how you're going to approach the race. Do you back yourself in the first half, get up into a lead, and then be able to sort of control the race, but then maybe come into pressure in the second half? Or do you back yourself to get into an early rhythm, get control of your rhythm early without overdoing it in the first half, and then sort of ease through and see how the opposition are, so you can then adapt later on? Eights is always tricky. You've got more factors. But it certainly makes the sort of the start line experience very hard for the athletes to do it.
And so, having spent some time discussing in previous races how it is for a crew which is well in front, talk about now the thought process of Monmouth, for whom, as you say, the draw was a tough one. They were always up against it, and these last 400 or 500 metres, you know, could be painful. Must they try to enjoy it? Or is that asking too much?
Everyone always tells you, remember to enjoy it. So it's obviously
nobody's
not going to be enjoying
this.
it. It's something you never talk about. You never talk about, well, what do we do when we're down? Okay, if you're still within reach, you want scenarios where, you know, you keep focusing the boat, whatever, you have certain mood, what technical things so you can keep in touch. When the margin's big, I mean, what does the clock say? I think if you've got a good culture in the team, you know, you want to be thinking ahead. Not going to be thinking ahead, but you want to have a good culture. You want to be putting your effort in. Like, still show a good race, commit to what you've done in the season, show what you're capable of, and even if no one else cares and is important to you as a crew, I think, and your experience as a crew, and I think that, you know, that's very important. But it's a hard one. There's no way you enjoy that. But it's about making the best of those situations, and if that's the standard you're at, then that's what you've got to be comfortable with.
Well, for Eton, it is indeed jolly boating weather, and they are maximising their moment. Eton, who've won this 3 times out of the last 6. The current champions are easing up to the line and into the Thursday of Henley Regatta, and Monmouth School, who have made the Thursday 4 times in the last 10 years, are packing their bags 24 hours earlier. Determined though they clearly are to finish spiritedly, their coxswain sparks exhorting them to flash over the finishing line with as much verve as they can summon. Is Eton comfortable?